In this video, we're going to form the second half of the custom transmission tunnel for this 1971 Camaro. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Dan and you're watching Resto Car, your source for DIY content to help you finish those builds. And hey, if you're a weekend warrior restoring a car at home, consider subscribing, because here at Resto Car, that's what we do.
All right guys, so we are going to kick this off by creating a paper template for this half, just like we did for that half up there. This one should be a little easier just because we're going straight into two pieces here, in the sense that we don't have to go around the floors and the firewall that was there. As far as bending it goes, we'll see how that goes. It's a larger piece than this piece was up here, but we'll figure that out. So as far as creating the paper template goes, we got our rods back in, and I'm using these rods so that I keep the paper far enough away from the transmission to give me enough clearance. I'm not necessarily using them to fine-tune the shape, but they'll get me in the ballpark with the paper template. But once I put the paper template on here using the poster board and I tape it down to the floorboards, you know, it may not touch every rod exactly, right? But that's not what I'm going for here. This is, again, just to get the basic shape, keep enough clearance, so we're not worrying about the transmission hitting the transmission tunnel. And then once we bend the sheet metal, you know, we're going to get a nice straight bend there and everything. So and then we can trim up the sheet metal as we move forward. So this paper template, we're going to go ahead, kind of lay that out, and you can see here I'm touching the transmission shifter mount area, but that's okay because my plan here is to bring this down and tie it right into here. And then we're going to basically cut out a plate, maybe out of 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch steel, and come around this piece so that we can maintenance the shifter, replace the shifter, do what we need to do. It's also going to give us a place to mount the shifter boot ring. Okay guys, so that's the plan. Let's go ahead and start taping on the poster board. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start laying the poster board down. First I'm going to go ahead and mark the center here. I threw this board in basically what the center of the transmission is, because this time around I am going to try to draw some lines on the poster board to help me help guide the bends. So just go ahead and put a mark right here. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take down the poster board. So I'm going to start basically on this side and work my way around, and really what we're going to end up here just 2 sheets based on the size I have. So we're going to take this piece and lay it around, and then we'll trim everything up and get it nice, or close, I guess. All right guys, so we got everything taped up, and now I'm going to go ahead and just trim along the bead in this panel to get this to be a nice fit. And then I'm going to go under the car and trace around the edges of this template, and then we'll cut it out. I'm not going to record all this because it's in the other video where we did this piece. So if you need to see that, just go ahead and go back. But we'll be right back after we get this thing marked up and ready to cut. All right guys, so we got this trimmed up around the bead here, and I'm going to go ahead and put some reference marks around the template and on this panel here so that we know where everything goes when we line it back up. I'm also going to mark center here and down here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll go underneath the car and trace everything out, and then we'll take the template off and trim it to fit. All right guys, so we got the underside marked, so we're going to go ahead and take this paper template off, and then we are going to cut it out. Now the one thing I haven't decided yet is how long I want this to be. I may cut this a little long for now, And why I'm thinking that is that there's a support brace that goes under here, and I cut right up against it is where I stopped, and I don't necessarily want to make a weld right up against it like that, although it may not be a big deal. I'm thinking about bringing this over past where the support brace is spot welded to this, and possibly then making that here and then spot welding the tunnel to the existing brace for a nice clean look. But we'll see how it goes once we get in there. It's possible I may change my mind and just go right along the edge there. All right, so here's what we marked out from going underneath the car, and we're just going to go ahead and cut along all the lines. This is where the bead is already. I am thinking I'm going to leave this a little long for now, actually probably an extra inch or inch and a half, and we'll make the decision later as to whether or not we're going to where we're going to cut this at. But for now, these can be cut right on the lines, and then we'll leave about a quarter inch or so on the sheet metal to let us fine tune that. So let's go ahead and cut this out. All right guys, so we got the template sitting on our sheet metal. This is 18 gauge sheet metal, and basically what we're gonna do is just trace around the template, and then I'm gonna go ahead and leave myself about a half inch all the way around, so we'll add a second line around the template. In the back, I'm gonna leave a little bit extra because I think I'm gonna run it past the support bracket that's under the floor now. We'll make that decision later, and if we need to, we can trim it then. The front, I'm not going to leave much extra up there because we can probably move the panel forward and backward a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 pieces of tape on here to hold the template so I can trace around it without it moving, and then we'll be ready to cut. So let's go ahead and do that. So all I did here was basically transfer my marks from the underside of the car over to this side so I could see them. So we're going to go 2 inches from those marks, and then that should be plenty. All right guys, so now we're going to go ahead and give ourselves some extra space on the side. To do that, just kind of take a washer or something or whatever you got to kind of give you an even space all the way around. So one last thing, we go ahead and run tape along this side that goes towards the other piece that's in there. It just give me a nice straight line to cut against. You know, the one I traced out wasn't as straight as I'd like it. So we'll take tape and go, and then that'll be a little easier to follow with the angle grinder. So let's go do that real quick, and then we'll be ready to cut this out. All right guys, so to cut this out, I'm just gonna use a 4.5 inch angle grinder. Makes quick work of things. You can get these cutoff wheels anywhere, and the grinders anywhere, Harbor Freight, wherever. I do like these Benchmark Abrasives cutoff wheels that you can get on Amazon. I'll throw a link in the description if you're interested in that, but let's go ahead and get this piece cut out. All right guys, so we got the piece cut out, got the edges cleaned up with the roll-lock disc, and I drew my lines on here. This is something I didn't do with the first panel because I wasn't quite sure, you know, how to draw them, what to do with them, all that kind of stuff. But having done the first panel, these are going to help keep the bends in the right direction. Meaning I'm not going to be bending this way or that way, right? So all I did was I split these into equal distances on all the sides. So I started with the center, right? Measured from center to end, and then kind of did this side, and then same thing over here and did that side. And the reason for that is like I said, the Camaro's transmission tunnel is a little bit off center. There's more space on the driver's side than there is on the passenger side, or at least that's just how it's working out for me because of the T56 and everything. But this was about 8 inches, and this is about 6.5. So we want to make sure we get that center line right. That's where we're going to start our bends, and then we're going to work our way along the edges.
The hope is the bending goes a little smoother. I was winging it a little bit in the last one just because I couldn't really tell which direction to bend, right? I might have had the pipe a little bit this way or that way, but that piece was small enough to where I was able to kind of work through it. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a shot and see how it goes. Hopefully I got this figured out. So let's go ahead and take this over to the bench and start bending it. All right, so we're ready to start bending this piece up. I'm just gonna take those lines and make sure they're in line with this piece of pipe and then make my bends that way. Again, just use my hands pushing around. Now this one will probably be a little more challenging than the other one just because it's a little longer. So I probably have to work my way down the panel, but we'll see how it goes here. So I'm just gonna put a little bend in the center and then make the most of them around the edges here. All right, so a quick look, first pass, it's coming along. The only problem with it is it's making some sharp bends, so we'll have to work on that. Maybe just, hammer around the pipe a little bit or something. But it's definitely coming along. So we'll just keep working it and see where it goes. So what I'm doing is I'm lining these lines up with the pipe. And then what I'm finding is I need to get, this is a little too big, so I need to go in between as well. So let's keep at it and see how it goes. All right guys, second pass. Let's go check it out in the car. All right, guys, quick look in the car. So we're looking good, in between these first two lines, I'd say. And then same thing up here. You can see where these marks come in handy. This is where we're lining it up to. So you can see we're good, pretty much good, a little bit. So we're gonna start bending in this area here, and this area here, and then working our way down as we go. So, all right, let's get back to it. All right, so after a couple passes, this side's looking real good. It's looking good. You see that one taking shape there. Again, I have this a little long right now, so we may cut some of that off of there. Let's go look at the other side. All right, so this side's coming along too. The one thing I forgot to mention to you guys is there's like indentations here and stuff that we're gonna have to work around and bend this tunnel to conform to it. We're a little wide back here, but I think a couple more bends back here and we'll be good. So let's go ahead and bend it a little more, because this is sitting right here on here. Let me show you. All right, so you can kind of see the contour here and in. So it's giving me a little trouble fitment wise right there, but we'll go ahead and sort of replicate this. All right guys, quick check-in. So we got the transmission tunnel cleco to the other one. That part's all looking good. And I did leave extra here, so we're gonna go past the support brace and then cut in there. And now what I need to do is kind of bend this edge so that it kind of goes up, and it'll give me a nice piece to tie in here, and then also to be able to spot weld that to the support brace in the car. So that's what we're going to work on now. All right, guys, I'm gonna go under the car and kind of trace around that brace to kind of get an idea where it is. This way we can make our bend here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and try to put that little step in the transmission tunnel there. I'm gonna try out this die that's on the bead roller right now. It almost looks like a tipping die, but it's not. It kind of creates offsets in the metal, so maybe it's an offset die or something. I don't know what the actual name is of it, but I have it set to about a 1/2 inch, and then what I'm thinking is, you know, if this actually works on this curved piece, then I'll go ahead and kind of maybe smooth out the transition so it's not as crisp when we're done. So I'll go ahead and try this and see what happens. And all right, guys, so that die did pretty good work there. Again, I'll probably come back after with a hammer and dolly or something and maybe try to make that not so crisp, but we'll see how it looks. Now this is gonna be the flange that's gonna get spot welded to the cross brace under the floor. That flange ends about right here, and then this starts going up. Should work out pretty good. Now what I need to do is just kind of bend that up ever so slightly, but we might be able to do that in the car. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and roll the bead in the panel as well while we're over here with this, and then we can call it done with this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap out the dies and put the 1/4 inch bead roller dies back on, and then go ahead and put the bead into this half of the transmission tunnel. There's where we're at so far. Looking really good. You can see where this type of bead roll here kind of worked out. So it's giving me basically like a flange that I can bend down a little bit here to spot weld to the brace that goes under the floor. I figured it might be necessary because of how the tunnel's a little higher now, so it's coming down at more of an angle, but maybe not, you know, but it works pretty good. And it also gives me a little extra clearance for the shifter plate. Basically it's about right in here somewhere, so that's good. Give me a little more clearance there. All right, here's a look at the other side. Again, looking pretty good. I'm recording this a few days later. You can see the surface rust is already making its way on there. It's no big deal though. Get it all painted up here soon enough. All right, guys, that's all we got time for today. If this video helped you in any way or you just liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, smash that subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so that you get alerted whenever we post new videos. We'll see you in the next one.